Hi, everyone. Welcome to part 1.4 for the real estate project. This is our fourth week of the project, and we are almost to the end. We'll submit the final project next week in week 5, and then we have a part 2 in week 7. But it's a different project. So the last time you are going to dive in and create new files, except for corrections. Part 1.5 is just corrections. So the last part of these slides are this week. So this week you are going to complete slides 18 all the way to the end, slide 25. And it's going to ask a lot of questions that you're going to have to comment on. So I'm going to go over how to create your different graphs, and then I'm going to explain just a little bit about the R value, which is what it's asking you to comment on almost in every slide. And I hope this is helpful to you. So we're going to go back into the file that we have been using. Remember, we've created a number of tabs. We have an original sample, a random sample, and then we were to split them up into townhomes, units, and homes. So what we're going to do first, it asks us in the first part is we're going to copy the distance column from tab 3 and move it to tab 12. So our distance tab is tab E. So we're going to go here to tab E, which is distance, and copy and paste that into tab 12. Right here. And we're going to put it right here. And then the second part, it asks us to copy the home price and put it in tab 12 as well. So you can see I've already copied and pasted it here. So this is our distance and our price. So the distance is the distance from the central business district. That's what the CBD is. So you can think of it as the center of your town, maybe where your courthouse is, other municipal buildings. Sometimes your library is downtown. So this would be the distance we're seeing if our home prices have a relationship with that being close to the central business district. So after you copy and paste these numbers in, it's going to give you all of this data. So see, it already gives you our R value and our R squared. And then it does not give you this graph. So you can create this graph by going to Insert and Chart. I highlight both columns like this. Push your left mouse button down and hold it and drag over to both columns so they're both highlighted, and then insert that scatter plot. Then at the end, you can go and create new things with it once you have it set up. But this is what your scatter plot looks like. And if you notice, your R value is a negative 0.23, which kind of shows your graph is sloping down a little bit. And so what does that mean? It has this information in your text, but I thought I'd go over it just a little bit with you. So this is just a website I found. I just typed in what is an R value in statistics. If you just type in what is an R value, it goes into a discussion on insulation. And so you want to make sure you add statistics at the end, or you'll learn about insulation. And this is what you're looking for, something like this. It has a list of different R values and what those mean. You can see here at an R equals 1, you have a perfect positive linear relationship, which means that as one variable goes up by 1, so will the other variables. So as distance goes up by 1, price goes up by 1. That would be a perfect positive linear relationship. Most relationships aren't perfect, so you'll see less than that. This is considered a strong relationship, and then this is considered more of a weaker relationship as you get to the 0.3. Once you get to 0, you would see that 0.3. It probably wouldn't slope up quite so much. It'd be closer to flat, maybe, than it's showing in this graph. But then the R equals 0 would be no correlation whatsoever. And that's sometimes what you see in graphs. There's just no relationship between two variables. Let's say if you are, looking at age versus amount of exercise, you know, done each day, you can probably find a relationship there, because as we get older, our bones maybe are a little more brittle, our joints hurt, and we may do less physical activities. So there may be, you know, a relationship there. But if you looked at age and, you know, maybe number of times that you eat each day, that may not have a relationship at all. And so that gives you an idea of what no correlation might look like. We also have a negative relationship, which is, let's say if our home value goes up when we are further away from our business district, we would expect that. But let's say that does not happen. Let's say, you know, your home value goes down. Maybe your downtown area is very hot, very popular. And so that might give you a negative relationship. So you might have a negative slope downward. It maybe wouldn't be quite this extreme as what you're seeing here. This is a more extreme example and a very extreme. So in our specific example, we had a negative 0.23, and you can see it's not quite flat, like no relationship, but it's not a strong relationship. So I think they labeled it as a weak negative linear correlation. So that's what you would write if you were explaining this set of data. Note, remember, this is random data, so your data set and your graph isn't going to look like this. So that kind of shows you what you're supposed to do for the first part. And so now I think we're going to go back. It asks you to do this 3 times. Now we're going to do it with the townhomes, and then we'll do it with the units. So I've already set up for the homes. So let's go figure out the townhomes together, since I haven't done that with you. So our townhomes, our distance here is column E. And so we'll copy that column E from townhomes all the way over to tab 13, which is our townhome tab. We're going to paste that in. We're going to go back, and we're going back to tab 4. We're going to get those prices. So we're going to copy this price data. We're going to get this over here to townhomes. And so we have distance and we have price. And if you notice, it already pops up. We have a positive linear relationship this time. So our graph is going to look something more like this when we get our trend line in. So let's highlight our 2 columns and make our graph. I'm trying to make this look nice. Okay. Here is what we're going to do. Highlight it, insert, chart. And it gave us a column chart, but we need a scatter plot. So we're going to click the arrow here and click scatter plot, and see we've got a scatter plot. It looks quite a bit different than our home one. Let's go back here. Look at the difference. We got lots and lots of data points. Here with our townhomes, we have very few because we didn't get very many townhomes in our data set, which is kind of sad because we kind of want some of that. And so we can go in and edit our chart. I just right click on these 3 dots and edit chart. We have a scatter chart. We have distance on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. And so we can customize just like before. For our title, we could write regression townhome, right? And then we could do price versus distance. And we know that distance is from that central business district. And then if you go down here and select series, it's one of our down arrows. We can click trend line because we'd like to see the trend line. It asks for that in the instructions. And then we can go add some more axis titles if we want. We have our horizontal axis here and then our vertical axis. It's really up to you. You wouldn't have to, add any more than that. That would be plenty. But if you wanted to add like a horizontal one, you could write distance in, I'm not sure whether it's miles or not, to be honest. I can't remember correctly, but you could do that if you'd like. And then you could write price of townhome. And then you would have a very, very easy to read and understand graph. And you understand that we have a very weak positive linear relationship. So as the distance goes further away from the central business district, those prices, you know, are going to change accordingly. And so we can go back here and go and do the last part of the assignment, which is copy the distance from tab 5, which is our units. We're going to look at units now. And so we are at tab 5, which is our units. We had a little bit more data for our units than we did our townhomes. So this is our distance. Remember, that is column E. And then we're going to go over here to tab 14. We're going to paste that into column A. We're going to go all the way back to tab 5 in units. We're going to pull our prices. We're going to copy and paste those into our units. And it's going to give us our R here, and we can do that insert chart in the same way. Highlight our data, so that way we get both columns of data in our graph chart. And it's going to give us our scatter chart correctly this time. And then, you know, once again, you can go in series and you can add your trend line like it asks. It looks like we have a little bit stronger of a relationship, positive linear relationship this time. And then you could talk about, I think that falls, yeah, it falls under moderate now. So we have a moderate relationship here. So units are directly correlated in some, you know, in a moderate manner. So that's interesting because, you know, townhomes didn't, and houses were actually had a negative relationship in this sample. So you can see how it's very different. And so that should give you your scatter plots that you will need to put into your different slides. And then there's one last part that you have to do. We are going to basically do our own, and it asks you to do this twice in tabs 15 and 16. So I will do tab 15 with you, and I'll let you pick whatever you want for tab 16. And it basically says, choose another variable, pick something and compare it to your home price to see what does home prices, what is it correlated with? Because we know there's not a strong correlation with distance. So let's see what else we can do. If I think of home prices, honestly, I think of the number of bedrooms. So that's column F. Number of bedrooms might be something we would want to check and compare with our prices. So we have, this is our student choice 1 and student choice 2. We're going to do that. I already copied and pasted this data here. This is our bedrooms and this is our prices. And look, unfortunately, we still didn't have much of a correlation. So you could do another one. I went ahead and did the prices here. So that way I set them up. If you didn't, you know, I copied and pasted them all at the same time. That way I didn't have to copy the column multiple times. What's some of our others? Maybe garage space, bathroom space, year built, land size. Let's try land size. Do you think land size? Column I. Let's see what column I would look like. So let's copy column I over to our final selection, which is tab 16, and put it in column A. And there's not a strong relationship here either. It's negative. So, you know, if you'll notice from what I found, it wasn't a lot of relationship with home prices and the variables that we selected for my specific sample. So I'll be looking forward to seeing if your scatter plots did show more of a linear relationship than mine did. Once you finish, you are going to put all those graphs and information into slides 18 through 25 as instructed for the slides, and then submit the slides for grading. You would not need to submit your sheets. Again, you just need the slides for this week. If you've already completed slides through 17 and you just want to add it to the end, feel perfectly fine at doing that. I can scroll over to slide 18. You can either save it as a PowerPoint presentation, or you can share the link and submit that. You do not need to send anything to me in the email or anything like that unless you have a question. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it's helpful. Have a good day.